Awesome, awesome. All righty. Well, thank you all for coming to our panel, The Art of Innovation. Today we're going to delve into creativity, technology, and how they impact different industries and how they shape the different industries. And I would love to start how each of my panelists here, we have a really stacked panel, but how each of you started your journey and what led to your current path. What should be on already? Starting with Justin here.
I'm sorry. I'm freaking out, y'all. So I have to just call it out every time I'm on stage. Never gets easier. But my creative journey started with, honestly, like making Vine videos. Like, I don't know when Vine was popping, but making little 15-second videos and just trying to be like the next, like Zach King or like King Batch, where I'm just, having fun with my friends. And then one day, a group of my friends back in my hometown was like, "Dude, your stuff looks like a film." And I never really thought about it. And I'm like, all right, well, let's see where this could go if I actually like try to make videos make sense. And like fast forward 8 years later, and here we are. We pioneered a whole new, path in the wedding industry with this reality TV approach. And I feel like I'm literally learning every day. And that's kind of how we started and where we're at now with it.
Hello, everyone. My name is Nia, and I'm a DJ. I have been involved with music for my entire life. That segued into me studying audio design and production. And as I built a passion for wanting to work for myself and entrepreneurship, DJing really found me, and here I am.
Great. So my name is Lisa Zamora, and I focus on video and photography, which has been a part of my life pretty much forever. Ever since I was a kid, I always enjoyed doing it. So I decided to pursue my career in video and photography, and I got my degree in media production from the University of Houston back in 2016. And so for the last 7 years or so, I've been working for Santikos Entertainment, doing all their in-house video, photo, marketing. And if you don't know, Santikos is the 7th largest theater chain in the country. And they do more than just movies. They're bowling, entertainment, gaming. They give back to the community, food, drinks, real estate. So that has really allowed me to expand my portfolio, doing video photography for all those different areas, working with nonprofits, doing real estate, doing food and drink photography. And recently I started up my own business, Lisa's Production, and I saw that as an opportunity to really use my talent to the fullest potential because I have so much to offer, and so I want to use my skills, help other businesses, and also share some of my experience with you guys.
Hi, I'm Jennifer Piakowski, so I'm a graphic designer. I feel like my creative journey started really similarly to everyone else. It's always been a passion of mine to do art or some sort of like creativity. I feel like I always tell people my first graphic design job was in 3rd grade when people commissioned me to make Christmas trees. So from there, I studied art in high school and then went to college. I actually graduated from UIW from their graphic design program. And so I've been in San Antonio now on and off since 2006. And I started my career around 2013. I've went internationally, so I started actually in China and then kept working my way back. So I keep doing new things in design. So I've had experience in user experience, right? In UI, agency life, in-house. I'm currently in-house marketing designer for Shopify. So I've been doing that for the last 10-ish years. So I feel like that's it.
Awesome. Well, I would love to start with Justin for a question directly for you. But you've definitely taken a very unique approach in this documentary style, I would almost say Love is Blind style of wedding videography. So how have you balanced being a filmmaker and a storyteller, especially when your subject is such a personal and emotional subject, such as a wedding?
That's a good question. Honestly, like first off, by the way, everybody introduced themselves, and I was like, dang, I never said my name. So my name is Justin Porter. My business is Justin Porter Media. But to answer your question, so I think that's like one of the thrills I get, which is what keeps me filming weddings, is that there's so many curveballs. Even having like such a popular like social media where my clients expect to have like a certain experience. Even with that, there's still like 101 different types of like curveballs. And I think the thrill of never knowing what obstacle will get put in my way to figure out how we're going to navigate that, how we're still going to tell the best possible story. I think that's like the biggest part for me. That's the joy. So those situations that we get put in, I think figuring out how to get past it is what keeps my interest, keeps it going, and keeps that drive.
And Lisa, your work with Santikos has involved creating movie-themed drink graphics and promotional material. How have you used tools like AI, Adobe's new features helped you streamline your creative process?
Great question. So all the new AI technology, it's making things easier now more than ever. So with the movie themed drinks, what we do is, we're trying to sell a drink and put it into a scene of a movie. And so what I used to do is I would buy props, set up a scene, take a photo. Now all I gotta do is, I take a picture of the drink and then I use generative AI in Photoshop to create my scene around it. And it's so much more efficient. Photoshop, it's smart enough to detect where your light source is coming from, so it adds the shadows for you and all that kind of stuff. Whereas before, I would have to manually go in there, add layers, and so that's really helped take off a lot of time for my work.
Awesome. Well, Jennifer, you've worked with brands worldwide and seen the evolving role of UX and marketing design. How do you think the incorporation of AI and machine learning is changing the landscape in UX design?
I thought about this question a lot and not 100% sure. I know that AI is making things easier for all of us in design. So like Lisa's example about, taking hours to make props and setting things up. It's the same in kind of marketing. We're able to sell and pitch ideas, and we're able to kind of like do things that we don't necessarily want to spend a lot of our time in. So like user flows, like IA kind of setups and stuff, maybe summarizing some things in like a creative brief. We'll use now ChatGPT to do that. Midjourney as well. It's something that we can do to, sell ideas and sell how we want things to look. It's not necessarily a thing that we use to create with, but just to be like, if we go in this direction, this is how it could look, and then hire the appropriate people to kind of like implement it and continue pushing it forward. I'm not 100% sure where it's going to take us, and hopefully, as long as people still have a niche in the design field, I feel like the robots won't take over. So that's kind of like where I see it in the kind of like UX, UI kind of world.
Great. And then I have a question for Nia. So you've had a really incredible journey from starting as a DJ to now being the official pregame DJ for the Seattle Seahawks and the corporate DJ for Microsoft. How was that transition like for you?
I mean, you're right. It's definitely been a very wild ride and fun journey. The transition has forced me to really dig deep into the one-on-one relationships with my clients. It has forced me to level up my language, and that is where AI really comes in for me. The way that I talk or my form of communication with people is absolutely through music. I love to incite and enrich people in a very spiritual way. And so it's definitely been a ride learning to communicate these contracts, but it's been nothing short of amazing for sure.
Great. Well, Justin, I know for you specifically that I was a big fan of yours. I think I saw you popping up on my TikTok feed with really resonated with me and my girlfriend at the time with the videos of what it's like living with a filmmaker. And me and my wife were always talking about that. But what advice do you give to, how do you built a strong brand presence on social media. How has social media helped you grow your business and connect with your audience?
Oh, that's like my favorite question. So in the beginning, I always have to start with just this little context or my wife will kill me. But in the beginning, I was not attached to social media. So fun fact, she, and to this day, is still the one who makes every TikTok and every reel that you see of mine. just because I was like buried into the craft. So I was obsessed with trying to get better and obsessed with, I wanted this to be 5% better than the last film. And because of that, she's just in the background filming it and posting it. And I never knew that over like 800,000 people felt the same way when they were filmmakers. And so that's kind of grew it to a point where now I look at it and that's legit our only marketing outlet. Like we don't pay for SEO, we don't pay for Google ads, we don't pay for any Facebook marketing. Every lead that we get is directly from either a behind the scenes video, maybe a reel that we shared where it's just like me running around like the life of a filmmaker. I didn't realize how many of my couples wanted to have someone who had personality and would not make it feel awkward the day of the wedding. And so we just showcase who I am. Like I literally will make a video and be full nerd, and my couples are like, "We saw that video, didn't understand it, but we want you at our wedding." And it's and it's like, "Did you see my films? Like they're good too." So it's social media for us has literally changed everything about my mindset towards it. But then it's also become our number one marketing tool.
Right. So I have a question for Lisa. So AI is a big topic in the creative world right now. So do you have any advice you would give to creatives who are a little hesitant to leverage AI and the emerging technologies to push their artistic limits, but are hesitant to do so because of its complexity?
Good question. So I first want to say, if you're not using AI or technology, like you're falling behind. And there's so many ways to learn it quickly. So even like Adobe, they have YouTube, they have Instagram Reels where you can learn a new feature in just a minute. And so many different things like that. You can read a couple of blogs, watch a YouTube short, learn a new feature in a minute. Because I know it's really helped me with my workflow, helped streamline things. I'm getting out work faster than ever before. So it really is a good resource, and it's worth learning it. And yeah, practice makes perfect. Just get in there and just start playing around with it, and you'll get the hang of it.
Great. And Jennifer, I know you're a San Antonio native. So do you have any advice for other creatives who are local, who are looking to expand opportunities and build a larger platform?
Yeah, definitely networking is key here. Reaching out to people, just in your community first, and then kind of building out, I think is the best way to go about it. I know that for me, 2020, right, we were all stuck inside. I kind of took that as an opportunity to post more work. I think similar to Justin, like I just kind of threw it out there. It just was myself. And that really resonated with people, and it got reposted and reposted again, but also just building opportunities within your community too. And don't be afraid to venture out. You can always come back. Like I've lived in China, Japan. I went to Colorado for a year. I hated it. Came back to Texas. So there's always opportunities to come back. And then, if you feel like you need to move again, you can move again and make that part of your creative kind of journey and build off of that in your experience in your portfolio. And I feel like that's kind of the best way to do it. Like use the network, use the people, and then also tell everyone what you do. So even if they don't ask, just be like, "Oh, I'm a graphic designer. This is what I do." Somebody will need you. There's always going to be work.
Great. And so for Nia, as someone who's worked in such diverse environments, everything from intimate club settings to large-scale corporate events and NFL games, what are some of the biggest lessons you've learned about adapting your craft to different audiences and staying true to your creative identity across different platforms?
Wow, that's a great question. I would say being able to pivot, whether it's an obstacle that you face or even a milestone. A couple of those for me were, how was I going to navigate the pandemic as an artist? We saw lots of venues close. There wasn't really much of a need for a DJ then. And so I was really forced to go inward and ask, where was my creativity needed? I also look at the milestone of having my children. When I became pregnant with my son, I knew that I didn't want to continue to show up to nightclubs really late, just out of exhaustion. And so that really forced me to pivot and to look elsewhere, in terms of where I could play music as well as longevity. So that openness and willingness to not throw in the towel when you're really faced with adversity, I believe is what has really propelled and continued my creative journey as a DJ.
All right, well, here's our key topic exploration. I want each of my panelists to answer this question, but the world of product marketing, storytelling, and technology is rapidly evolving. What role do you see AI and machine learning playing in creating more impactful narratives and driving engagement? And how has it shaped your approach to creativity and innovation? And we'll start with Justin here.
So AI, I was also going to say, just because I listening to the three of you, I kind of gathered myself as like being open. And that's the same thing that I think pushed us into the whole category of reality TV, is that we were kind of pushed against the wall, whether we go with the crowd or how do you market as another wedding filmmaker in the sea of millions of wedding filmmakers. But to answer your question, AI is, for me anyway, I look at it, a lot of filmmakers look at it as like, oh, this is going to take our jobs, blah, 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 blah. And I look at it as like, this is like the best thing as an editor. So like, she was talking about like Chat GPT. Like, you have no idea how many times I want to send out like maybe a clever marketing email or like a win back. Like, I had a good consultation call, but you know, I could tell they were on the fence. Like, maybe I can word some of the things that I would say, but then use Chat GPT to really entice them. Other things like inside DaVinci, they're implementing like the transcription features. Yeah. So being able, we do interviews like all day at a wedding, 10, 12 hours straight of nonstop interviews. So now I can literally transcribe all the interviews in my timeline and then just type in, I love you. And then every time someone says, I love you, if that's the soundbite I'm looking for, I can grab it, drop it in, I'm done. Whereas before, I'd have to click yours, I'd have to click yours, I'd have to click yours, and listen and listen and listen, and all this time is wasted.
Through hours of footage, yeah.
Exactly, and now it's just speeding it up. So I think AI, going back to what they said, being open to it, even if it's not something that you would use today, I think there's just so many. There was one that we started using for SEO, and it actually is like, we didn't even think we needed it, but it's actually working. Like, we're getting so many more clicks to the website, and it's just an AI. It tells us what to update, tells us how to tweak it. It keeps ranking it with Google. And yeah, so it's just so many different options with AI that I think if you're open to it, I don't think it's replacing jobs. I think it's just making it more efficient for a lot of us who just don't have the time to do it ourselves.
Great. And how about you, Nia?
I would say the integration of AI and DJing can be a little bit tricky. Outside of just conversations or emails with clients, in a gig, the most beneficial way that I have used AI will be when I have a multicultural crowd. I don't speak Indian or some of the other languages of the people in the room, but in the moment, I know that a Punjabi hit is just gonna make the room go off. So a quick little type in screen shift of songs that speak to the heart of their culture can help me in a matter of seconds. And that allows me to keep control and also elevate my ability to read the room.
You want to add to that, Lisa?
Yes, so I also agree with Justin. I also, utilize those features in Adobe Premiere where it reads all the audio for you, and that's really helped with editing. But I also use it for script writing, and sometimes like I'll write out my script and then I put it into Grammarly, and Grammarly has a new feature where it can help you improve it. It can help you, sound more professional, sound more friendly, sound more persuasive, whatever tone you're looking for. So, I think the idea still comes from the creative person themselves, and then it's just using that AI to really improve it and take it to the next level.
Yeah. Sorry, that was a little loud. I will say the integration of AI in my work, it makes it easier to kind of like go through competitor analysis. It makes it easier to kind of, just take creative briefs. I said this before, take creative briefs, summarize those, especially if there's a lot of data and insights that are coming through. And sometimes those things are really hard to kind of decipher from a creative standpoint. So it just kind of takes that and makes it a little bit more manageable and malleable, I think, in that case. So I think for a marketing perspective, it's really useful for creatives to kind of use it at the forefront in discovery and research, but then also, integration inside of marketing. I mean, Adobe, when you need to like edit imagery or kind of like make something really quick, and it's something that's not obviously human because they AI has weird hands still. So I don't know if you guys have seen those. They're really weird. But Midjourney is really good at like taking, products, like specifically, like actual objects, like a ring, for example. And you can say, like, you can find an image on the internet and then kind of take that, put it into Midjourney, have it prompt you something, and then have it do it again, and then kind of manipulate that to kind of be something that you could use, obviously, for how you want a product to look in a photo shoot. So it just takes those certain things, like it's really good for like texture or like a crazy idea. I know one time we used Midjourney to like showcase like, I don't know, a crazy ball pit, and it wasn't in reality. So, and then how do you show that to somebody, or 3D elements that you want like a 3D developer to make and use? So it's really good for those discovery moments and kind of just synthesizing information and data. It's also just great to like gather notes for brainstormings and stuff. If you're on a call in a Zoom meeting, just have AI kind of take those things. And I mean, Google right now, Gemini has a way for you guys to take notes during the meeting. And then you can just take that and pull it back into a program like Figma and like synthesize it from there. So that's kind of how we use it in marketing, and that's kind of the biggest benefit, I feel like.
Yeah, can I piggyback on
Go
that?
for it. Yeah.
There's a tool that I just got, I just started using probably a month ago, called Fathom AI. When I tell you that this is the best note-taking software for a Zoom call, so we do like a story introduction call with our clients just to get to know like their backstory. And so I'll just spitball like all these questions, like tell me about your family, how you met, like all that stuff, just to understand. The cool thing is that it'll give you like a summary, but then it turns into like Chat GPT from your call. So you could be like, hey, did Brandon say they met in 2008? And then it'll be like, no, Brandon said they met in 2006 at a coffee bar. Like, it's so good to the point where I can like storyboard, but I don't even need to really listen, quote unquote, on the call. I can literally go back and be like, all right, how did they meet? And then it'll give me that. And it also timestamps it to the video. So if I wanted to play it to hear them, I just hit play once it responds. It's super, super dope.
Yeah.
And it's free for life, which is also super.
Oh, that's amazing. And that's how I feel like creatives should be using these programs. It's not necessarily like, oh, you're not supposed to use it in a way to like create new artwork, obviously. Like, it's supposed to be there as a tool to make your life more efficient for things like that. So you could just kind of be in the moment and get more of the like the tone and the feeling of those type of things. And then you can kind of like just take the bits and parts that you need in order to like make a creative thing, whatever it is, film or photography or whatever. So, yeah.
Yeah, I think it's super great seeing how the programs that we're using right now, Adobe Creative Suite is a really good example of Photoshop and Premiere Pro, of how it's just become the standard over the past 2 years. We're seeing generative AI, but even for simple things like in Adobe Premiere cleaning up audio, seeing how it has made just the process so much easier of editing audio. It's not always, the perfect, but it's still when you're capturing audio already in a good quality, it's a good way to clean it up, fast track, make the process a lot simpler. But yeah. Great. So I think that's actually all the questions I have. I would love to open it up for Q&A if our audience has any sort of questions.
Hi.
Brandon, I have a question specifically for you. As someone who leads creative projects across different industries, how do you ensure that each project stays innovative and relevant while maintaining the client's brand identity?
Absolutely, yeah. So at Symbio Hush, we typically do a listening tour with all of our clients. When we have our initial meeting with them, we make it a point to meet them in their space, learn a little bit more about what their needs are, and by doing so, having that hour meeting within their space, we can then learn how we can apply our own creativity to amplify their brand. So I think that's always a very key essential that we do at Symbio Hush. Yeah. Any other?
Hi, everybody. Thanks, y'all. So this question's for everybody. Y'all talked about AI and using tools like ChatGPT and some of Adobe's tools. But what advice do you have for creatives that are hesitant to use some of these tools, specifically around, like, one of you mentioned that using artificial intelligence as a tool versus a solution, right? But what advice do you have for creatives that want to still maintain their voice and their creativity, but still utilize artificial intelligence?
Okay, I can start with this one. Especially being in the field of music, we've seen different platforms like Spotify or Apple Music create playlists for you or use algorithms that take what you're listening to and kind of format playlist of songs that they think you might want to hear. I would say as a creative, as a DJ, something that AI will never be able to replicate is the one-on-one feeling of emotion that I can pull from a crowd and then also give back. So although I have these tools here that might be able to present songs to me in another language, once I listen to it, if the BPM doesn't feel right, if the current of the song is just not as electrifying as I need it to be, then I won't go with it. And so as a creative, you can't be fearful of receiving information from AI and just being like, actually, that's not the right one. So trust yourself. Trust yourself as an artist. Trust yourself as a creative, because really you are going to know best. And these are just tools, but they're not your heart.
Yeah, I was going to say it's like what you said, it's information. Take it as information. It's not supposed to be a solution. It's information that you can use to make a solution. So people, specifically artists and illustrators, are nervous about this because AI is taking, different imagery and kind of plagiarizing it and making it into something new. And for me, that's misuse of AI. Like, it's not supposed to be an end-all, be-all solution. And it's not supposed to take away jobs in the way that people sometimes use it, in a way that, like, it's like, oh, this is the final output. That's, to me, incorrect. Maybe in the future that could change, but I highly doubt it, because at the end of the day, it's your craft, it's your approach, and AI will never have your experiences and your value that you put out into the world. So, I'd say start small. I just used it for notes and then kind of worked my way up into different applications. But yeah, I think that's a good call out, that it is information. If you don't like it, don't use it. Go to do the thing that you like. So
my idea behind AI usage is like, I think it was Gary Vee. My wife watches a ton of like different like keynote speakers, but I think it was Gary Vee that said this. At some point, you'll stop trading time for money, and you'll trade money for time. And to me, like, I film, like, we're nonstop every year. Our weddings are January to December. And so to take the time to have to, like, even automations, we have like an entire like sales funnel that's fully automated thanks to AI. But that's just one less email I got to spend reading and sending. That's one less text message I got to automate. Like it just saves time. It gives me more time to focus either on the creative process or like the things that AI can't do, like interviewing my clients or booking the next wedding. Like that's things that I have to do. But using AI in these other avenues, like automating the workflow, or even like the way we do our follow ups, like a lot of that's through AI. We push it through a software that will either generate something based on our consultation call. It's just helpful in that sense. So I think if you think about it as like, how can it help me get more time to do X, Y, Z? Then I think you'll probably have like a different experience with the approach of using AI, any AI.
Yeah, I think that's a good point. And to piggyback off of that, so another thing would be, for example, of a way that I use it as just a starting point. If I'm working on a drink for the theater and there's a movie and I don't know anything about the movie, I'm like, what is this? I go into Chat GPT. I'm like, give me some fun facts about the movie. Who are the characters? What are their superpowers, etc. And then I use that, the knowledge from there, I apply that to the drink. I'm like, okay, well now I can use this color. This would go with that. Okay, I can name it this. I get ideas based off of the information it gave me.
Any other questions?
Yeah, right over here. I just wanted to ask any tips or advice for any recent graduates or students about to graduate, about to start a new journey in my life, and I was wondering any piece of advice to how to navigate it. So,
All right, I'll go first. That's a good question. My advice, I feel like if I could talk to a younger me, like starting out, getting my first Nikon camera and running out in the world, would be to learn business first. I went like maybe 4 or 5 years and then realized that you have to pay taxes. Like who knew? Like so yeah. Like I would say like as we get hungry in the beginning, because it's always passion. Like you work for free so much in the beginning because you're ready. You want to learn. I want the experience, like, or you get a really good job like Santikos. So you're like, yo, I'll do it all year for $100. Like, and then you realize how much time you put into it. And you get to a point like we had early or late 2020, which we realized like, yo, like I need more people to help me film. And then we're looking at all my contracts for the next year. I'm like, $3,000 is not going to work. Like everyone that I know wants to be paid $1,000 to show up. And so I would say learn business first, like everything about it, from bookkeeping, planning. There's a lot of good books. I love 50 Cent, so I listen to Hustle Harder, Hustle Smarter. Really good book for strategizing and learning how to build teams, how to be a better leader. So that's just stuff that I feel like no matter where you're at, you either go through your journey and then get to that point. But I think for me, if I would have started there, I think our business would be maybe more successful than where it's at right now.
I think another thing, I know for me, looking back, I wish I had done some classes on marketing itself. I was just so focused on the video production. I didn't think anything business, marketing, but that could definitely have helped me a lot now. Well, there's a lot of resources available online, and then also if you go to school for that, there's the classes available there.
My favorite is YouTube University. Like I can if we get together afterwards, I can give you a list of people who I've watched where I'm like, Billie Jean is marketing. Fun fact, we're actually filming with him at the High Level event next week. And that's who I started with marketing. And I learned Billie Jean, yeah. I don't know why he went with that, but Billie Jean is marketing. And his mind behind literally just Facebook and Instagram marketing is like out of this world. I learned everything I needed to about Facebook back then, which is what I was good at that in the beginning, but bad at managing the business. So I would get paid, and then like before it even got deposited, I had already bought a new lens. So it was like that's the mindset that I would it was like both sides of it. Like marketing is great, but then if you're not managing money, then you're just it's just coming in and going straight back out.
Yeah, I think it also depends like what you're wanting to do after graduating. Like if you want to do your own business, do your own thing. My first piece of advice is charge more. Always charge more. Like even if you feel like you're not charging enough, charge more. And then if you're looking for jobs, Again, networking, knowing who to talk to, and like just bugging everybody about positions or like different companies and those type of things. Like utilize the people that you know and tell everyone what you want them to know. Like, I want to do UI design, I want to do this, and use those resources. I also use YouTube University. It's pretty great. So I know I did whenever I wanted to learn about brand strategy, and then kind of, making it and wielding it to be what you want it to be is how you kind of get like your niche and people to want to hire you. So
I would say keep your eyes open and keep your heart open. As a creative, every single person's journey looks very different. When I got started in music, I didn't know that it was going to evolve to me being on corporate stages. However, I found that tools that I received in jobs where I was working at hotels and helping to market for timeshare became very beneficial and very useful for me when I did need to pivot. So pay attention, trust in yourself, and really foster some of those ideas that might not seem as important in the moment, but on your journey, it will show face again, and it will be something that you have in your back pocket.
I would love to add to that too. So very good points here about learning about business, about learning about YouTube, doing YouTube.com, doing research. But I think another point about being a creative is really you can't expect results right away. I've been working in the creative industry for about 12 years, and really I didn't have my break until about 5 years ago. And so I think there's a certain amount of, you can't have expectations right away. You have to work really hard in building a reel, doing work on the side. So I think that's a really key point into anybody that wants to be a creative is not expecting the results right away, but working hard to get to that point. But yeah.
And I'd add one last one as well. This is big. I think everybody's going to agree to this. But you got to be willing to accept feedback. Like,
Yes,
no matter how
absolutely.
good you think you are, somebody new, like there's people with like 300 followers would be like, hey man, your color grade seems off on this. And then I'll go watch and I'll be like, dang, bro, I can't unsee it now. You're right, it's magenta. So be open to all feedback. You don't have to always agree, but welcome it all the time, because a lot of the times, like some of these critiques from people who are nitpicking your work will end up being like the reason you push further.
Absolutely. I love that. Any other questions in the crowd?
Yeah, I have one question, guys. It's Jay. So I want to say thank you guys for being here. I've known most of you guys either from 10 years to 2 months, and just want to let you know that I'm very grateful for you guys for all being here. It's really, really cool to see everything you guys are doing for the city, as well as what you're doing for like parts of the region. And my question is really, it's going to be, being creative can often feel like a heavy weight to carry. There's so many expectations, constant innovation, and sometimes the pressure to just keep going. How do you balance the emotional and practical demands of your work while staying true to your creative vision? What keeps you grounded? And that's for all of you.
is it bad to say like garbage television keeps me? I mean,
I love garbage television.
yeah, I'm really big into Love Is Blind right now.
Oh yeah, I'm right there with you.
Yeah. But the expectations, right? You put expectations on yourselves. Like imposter syndrome is real. I go through it. I'm actually in a current imposter syndrome phase. This feels really. I'm like, should I be up here? So don't worry. I feel like everybody goes through strides in their creative career, and you don't feel like you will be enough. Your work won't be enough. But then you'll look back in a year, 2 years, 5 years, and be like, oh man, look how much I've grown from that point. When pressure really hits and you're like, I don't know if I'm going to make it through. And then you do, and you get to have a retrospective and kind of see, yes, I am improving. Yes, I'm getting better as a creative every day. So, and you're not alone. So that's kind of my advice.
wants to go next?
I'll piggyback off of that. So yeah, I mean, like you were saying, like everyone has their moments, and I actually went through a period last year where I was struggling. I had creative block, a little bit of, burnout, and I couldn't come up with scripts. I couldn't come up with creative ideas. I couldn't put words on paper, but I just persevered, pushed through it, did everything I needed to in order to get past that, and I'm back. I'm better than ever. I have so much ideas going through my head, and yeah, I mean, just keep going.
I would just say, just alongside with keeping your eyes open and keep your heart open, find those healthy tools that really make you want to get up every day. And that can look like meditation. For me, it's meditation. I listen to music constantly. There is always high vibration around me, but in order to beat the burnout, at times I have to sit in silence, sometimes for days. And so really just finding those healthy tools that can help you keep going.
I think for me, there's like two sides to this coin of how I would answer it. The first one would be to remove I feel like as creatives, we're our own worst critic, and we put a ton of pressure on ourselves. Like even like literally, I'm editing a film right now, and I was like, dang, like this one doesn't hit like the last one. I shouldn't upload it. And then everyone around me like, dude, this one's sick. Like you need to post it. And I think when I started realizing that I put more pressure on my work than the expectation of my clients, like they expect way less, and I'm like way up here. It's got to be graded. Everything's got to match. All this got to happen. It's got to be mixed well. I'm not saying cut corners, but I'm also saying you've got to be willing to look at your work and then understand like, okay, it is where it needs to be, and stop finessing so much. And then the other side of that is going to be the creative outlet. I learned like time management, time blocking, like this year. Another thing I wish I could have started in the beginning, but when you work like at Chick-fil-A, for example, you show up and you go home and Chick-fil-A is off your mind. But as creatives, it never turns off. Like I could be watching Love is Blind and I'm like, dang, how'd he get that mic there? Like, where's the audio guy? Like, so it never cuts off, but at least for me now, having a studio space where I could leave my house, go to the office, edit there, and then when I come home, I can actually be with my kids. And even if I wanted to edit, there's nothing there for me to do. So I have to physically disconnect in that capacity. I think as creatives, when you start out, having some sort of schedule where you're like, I work 9 to 5 and then I cut it off. I lock the door, give the key to your wife, hide it, whatever you got to do. But get yourself on a schedule where you're not just working 24/7. I think that's what leads to burnout the quickest.
Great. Well, this may not apply to every solo filmmaker, creative, or entrepreneur. But in my circumstance, since I know Jay asked this question, that I think a really key point is teamwork, or the team that you surround yourself with, and just the people that you surround yourself with. Of course, there's always times throughout the year where there's always the lows and highs, and I think having a very supportive team around you that supports you and makes you try harder is really key into keeping you going. And that may not apply for everybody who works on their own, but just same thing with the people you surround yourselves with, the family, friends, other creatives that you surround yourselves with. I think it's a really key point in having that support system to keep you going and striving to be better.
Yeah, I wanted to piggyback on that because that's a good point there because, I mean, when I was going through that last year, like I definitely couldn't have done it without my support system. So definitely have those people to lean on.
Great.
So
Any other questions in the crowd?
Pardon me. Yes, I actually have a question open to the panel. I would like to thank the individuals that actually focus on quality first and foremost, because that's actually what determines the difference in brand. And it's an effective tool, and it's magnetizing. So those of you that do focus on quality, I do appreciate it. It's very important. My question is it reasonable to say that with the progression of technology that the hard work and I guess the work in general will become easier because it is a tool? And without those tools, which are actually the base of the economy, resources are structured differently, opportunities are presented differently, perspectives are changed, you're introduced to different people, which can also be considered as resources or tools. And it's open to the panel, whoever would like to answer.
So the question is, just so I can hear it correctly, is like, will the quality bar make it easier? Or sorry, will it be easier to like make these things and the quality bar will be lowered? Is that kind of what the question is?
So with the progression of technology, let's use an example, a real life example, the difference between a push lawnmower and the one that you sit in, right? Is it fair to say that the work will indefinitely become easier with the progression of technology? Hearing you guys speak and a couple of panelists before this, it's like hard work and, grind and stuff like that. But with these tools, is it reasonable to say that that journey will become easier?
I'm not 100% sure it will be easier because as creatives, we do push ourselves, I think, pretty far in order to make sure we hit that quality bar at every point. And there's also this idea too that there's going to be an idea of sameness, and you see this in marketing, you see this in design, where trends kind of come in, and these trends kind of all look the same. I'm trying to think of like, there's a couple of like package brandings where everything's kind of like hand with beverage in clouds, right? And so people will start getting bored of that, right? So it's up to us to use these tools in a way to like differentiate ourselves in the marketplace instead of having sameness everywhere. So, I mean, it'll make it easier in sense that like it'll make it more efficient, but not necessarily like the hard work will still be there. And that's proof in the quality of the work that you showcase.
All right, so that is all we have time for today. Oh yeah, sure. All right, well, let's give a round of applause for our panelists today. And please stick around. We have one more panel today at 5 p.m., Thriving as a Software Engineer. Thank you so much.
I'm just feeling celebration tonight. Celebrate, don't wait too late. No, we don't stop. You can't stop. We're gonna celebrate one more time. One more time. One more time. A celebration. You know we're gonna do it right tonight. Hey, just feel it. Music's got me feeling the need. Yeah. Come on. All right. We're gonna celebrate one more time. Celebrate and dance so free. Music's got me feeling so free. Celebrate and dance so free. One more time, music's got me feeling so free. We're gonna celebrate, celebrate and dance so free. One more time, music's got me feeling so free. We're gonna celebrate, celebrate and dance so free. One more time, music's got me feeling so free. We're gonna celebrate, celebrate and dance so free. One more time, music's got me feeling so free. We're gonna celebrate, celebrate and dance so free. One more time, music's got me feeling so free. We're gonna celebrate, celebrate and dance so free. One more time, it's got me feeling so free. We're gonna celebrate, celebrate and dance so free. One more time, music's got me feeling so free. We're gonna celebrate, celebrate and dance so free. One more time, music's got me feeling so free. We're gonna celebrate, celebrate and dance so free. One more time, music's got me feeling so free. We're gonna celebrate, yeah. One more time, it's got me feeling so free. We're gonna celebrate, celebrate and dance so free. One more time, it's got me feeling so free. We're gonna celebrate, celebrate and dance so free. One more time, it's got me feeling so free. We're gonna celebrate, celebrate and dance so free. One more time, it's got me feeling so free. We're gonna celebrate, celebrate.
Check, mic check, 1, 2, check, looking good for Geekdom. We'll be getting started here in a few minutes. Go to Mingle.